Jordy Culotta Show. Wave your hand out there, baby!
Shout out to the show.
She puts the pinky into the nostril. Man, look at that.
Healthy competition, there's nothing like it.
Y'all grow up.
The line's wrapped around the stadium.
Different strengths. I just lost a tooth.
It's going to be fun.
You know, we might have a story.
I love what you're doing.
Ogeron wants to take us fishing this afternoon.
Sharif, you play for the bad boys of the SEC, man. We don't apologize to anybody.
A lot of people are saying you're going to be wearing number 7.
I don't really know. I want to.
He look crazy, Bill. Good feet on the old man.
This is some back.
We'll be right back with the Jordy Culotta Show. Welcome into a Thursday edition of the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet, live here on this Thursday. Appreciate you starting your day here with us. If you don't mind, hit that like button, share button, comment button, as we'll be with you up until 9 a.m. this morning. We got a jam-packed show, man. We got a bunch of guests coming through here this morning, and looking forward to it. Man, this first conversation is going to be cool. Antoine Davis is a guard for Detroit Mercy up in Detroit, obviously, and plays on Dick Vitale Court, by the way.
Shout out to Dick.
He is 26 points away from breaking Pistol Pete's NCAA Division I scoring record of 3,667 points. This was a record that many thought would last forever. Davis had 38 points in the first round of the Horizon League tournament a couple of nights ago, which leaves him 26 shy, and he'll have his opportunity to break it tonight versus Youngstown State, who is the number 1 seed in the tournament. His dad, Mike Davis, who is also the coach of Detroit Mercy, the head coach, been there for 5 years, is going to join us at 7:30 this morning. And shout out to one of our listeners in Detroit, our guy who put this together for us.
I was about to ask, like, how did you get this? Where did this come from?
He put me in touch with Mike Davis, and Mike Davis and I talked yesterday, had a really short, cool conversation, and Davis has got a great basketball resume. He played basketball at Alabama.
Mike did?
Yeah.
Wow.
Early on, I believe 81 to 83. Then he was on coaching staffs. He's been on coaching staffs, and most notably, took over for Bobby Knight.
Really?
At Indiana after Indiana fired him, and then took Indiana to the Final Four in 2002.
Did you know all this about him already?
Yeah, I knew all of this,
Okay.
but I mean, I didn't know that.
That's so cool.
I didn't know that we could have him on.
Well, yeah.
And then he was the head coach at UAB, where he
Okay.
coached his other son, and then he coached Texas Southern before Johnny Jones got the job. Mike Davis Jr. was his point guard for UAB, and now he's coaching his son at Detroit Mercy, which is really cool.
That is really cool.
So we're going to ask him about that experience, obviously. And I mean, there's a lot that we can talk to about Mike Davis. When we confirmed the interview, man, I started to kind of look and find some cool things that we could talk to him about. But obviously, everybody is going to be watching Antoine, who is scoring and averaging over 34 points over the last 9 games. He's averaging 26 a night for the season, which leads college basketball. So, he averages 28. He needs 26 tonight to break the record. And obviously, there's a little bit of an LSU tie with this being a Pistol Pete record that has stood since 1970.
God, that's a long
stood
time.
since January 31st, 1970. Now, there's been a couple of different paths to get here. It took Pistol Pete only 84 games to do this. This is Antoine Davis's plus 140. This is 145th game he's done this. This is the 5th year that Davis has played college basketball. It took Pistol Pete 3 years to get this, because when Pistol Pete was playing college basketball, they didn't allow freshmen to play. So his freshman season, the stats didn't count towards his varsity record.
Was this before 3-point lines?
This was before the 3-point line, and it was before the shot clock.
Damn.
Oh my goodness.
So if you were if you were playing against Pistol Pete, you could ideally like play four corners and just play keep away, just not let him get the ball, right? I mean, but he still was able to average in a 3-year span a still unfathomable 44 points a game. Like, he averaged 44 points a game every time they rolled it out without a 3-point shot, without a shot clock, and only in 3 years it took him to score this 367, points that has stood since January 31st, 1970. By no means am I trying to downplay the moment for Antoine Davis. If he breaks it tonight by scoring 26, he's the scoring leader in college basketball, but the stories do need to be told on how they got there.
Yeah, people in the chat are not excited about this.
Well, I mean, look, I don't expect LSU fans to be excited about
Right.
that.
Yeah, look.
But I mean, look, all records are made to be broken, and as Jason Maravich said earlier this week, they support it and they're pulling for Davis. And I think that this will never tarnish or never, by any means be a mark against Pete Maravich. I mean, like, I think his greatness, his, ability will always be detailed and always be able to be easily found and described. Right? I mean, I just think it's always going to have a Pistol Pete flair to the scoring leader in college basketball. If Antoine Davis overtakes this record tonight, and he is the leading scorer in college basketball history, there's always going to be a asterisk or a caveat that says Pistol Pete's record stood for nearly 50 years or more than 50 years, I guess, and it was done in a completely different fashion. I mean, in the style that Pete accomplished his record to the way that Davis will capture the moment or seemingly may capture it tonight is two different paths, but it's the same record. So we're going to talk to Mike Davis at 7:30 this morning and talk and get some basketball scoop from him, just dive into the mind of Mike Davis and get some stories from Davis of his basketball journey, and obviously talk to him about, the moment that exists for him and his family tonight to watch his son and his leading scorer have a chance to break a very hallowed record in sports. I mean, this is a record that a lot of people have talked about, known about, especially in this part of the country. So,
is his other son currently playing?
His other son is actually on the staff. He's he's the assistant coach.
Very cool.
Detroit. So yeah, it is. It's a great story.
And on Dick Vitale Court. That's how it happens.
Is his name on that court?
Dickie V.
His
Court.
signature?
Detroit Mercy, where he coached over 50 years ago and accomplished nothing.
You got to see how many wins he has as a coach.
So Mike Davis will be here at 7:30. We're also going to talk to Booger McFarland at 8 a.m. Boog going to be here talking some college football, NFL football. Lots to talk about with Boog. Always good to catch up with our friend. He's been named the headline speaker for the Coaches Clinic coming up in mid-April. As LSU football announced yesterday its spring football dates as LSU finally was announced. And they're going to start on March 9th. The Tigers are going to hold 15 practices starting next week.
Next week, are we in?
We're in. We're good. I got our clear standing yesterday. Look, man, the guy that was against us has been removed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, like
We
we
are
figured
all
you out,
clear.
Brian Polian. I mean,
still
people
on staff.
were very eager to tell us who was trying to block us out of the program.
He's still out there.
And we're in good standing. He is not in good standing with the program. Yeah. Take the stapler and shuffle on down the hall there, buddy. Here, keep this yellow hat, too, by the way.
Actually, you're introducing everybody that comes in the building.
That's
Brian.
right. But LSU going to hold 15 practices starting on March 9th. They will conclude on April 22nd. LSU will hold its pro day on March 29th. There will be no practice. Have they announced the day of the spring game?
No practice the week of the 13th. That's spring break.
Yeah, spring break. But did they announce the day of the spring game?
I don't think they
I don't
did.
know. It's not on there.
Not yet. Okay, so spring practice starts next week, and they will have a coaches clinic within that practice where they bring all the high school coaches in from around the state, and they have a coaches clinic, which usually shows off all of the staff. You'll usually hear from the majority of LSU football coaches, but there's always like a headliner that comes in, and this year it's going to be Booger. And we'll talk to the former LSU All-American first-round pick, and now one of the faces of ESPN's football coverage, both on the NFL and the NCAA. I'm going to ask Boog about that moment he was on the call for the Hamlin situation. We haven't talked in a while, but I thought that Booger that night really carried that broadcast and carried that very tough moment on live television.
Yeah, he was super emotional during that.
Absolutely.
But held it together.
The way that he was able to kind of keep that thing moving and the resource that he was for everybody on that set, I thought really kind of showed the respect that people have for him in the game. It's easy to look at Booger's resume and say, wow, I mean, what a career this guy has had, both on the field, a couple of Super Bowl rings with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Indianapolis Colts, an All-American career at LSU, a first-round pick, somebody that will always be celebrated in the program, to his success in media. Like him or not, like his style or not, his resume post-football is as good as his football career was, maybe better. He spent a couple of years on Monday Night Football. He's been the face of college football's coverage on the desk throughout the Saturdays in the fall for, ESPN and ABC. The success that Booger has had post football is, it's been fun to watch, man, and it's been cool to see the respect that he brings to the set for not only what he knows, but for LSU. He carries LSU with him all the time, and he's always repping Louisiana. So we will talk to the Winsboro native Booger McFarland coming up here at 8 a.m. and then Chris Blair at 8:15 last night, as we'll talk to Blair about the call earlier this week with Gavin Dugas slamming the 3-run shot against Texas to close the door on the Longhorns in Austin. What a cool moment early in the season for this number 1 overall baseball team. Not so cool of a moment last night in the Maravich Center. And I'm not really going to talk a lot about it because, full disclosure, I didn't watch a play.
Oh, God, I did.
I didn't watch
the whole
I didn't watch
cringy
one
game.
second of it. Now, in this business, when you got to go talk about it, you do have to kind of watch the highlights. And I usually watch every single press conference. And I've done a good job of watching all the games this year. But I can't do it anymore. I went down to New Orleans last night and met Kelly, and her and I went to dinner. And I just really and truly, I forgot about it. I want to apologize more to Red Panda than I do to anybody else because, she's who I miss the most.
But LSU was leading.
Yeah, but Katie,
most of the game.
Did you think they were going to win?
No, I did not.
Okay, well, good for you.
Yeah.
It was
I thought you were telling me
a good
kind of you
lead
got
through the
sucked
whole
into
first
it.
half.
I was happy to see Parker Edwards log some minutes, and
he did great.
Truth be told, I'm telling you, Jordan and I have talked about this in watching the game, and they're struggling to shoot the 3-pointer this season. We've been at games where I'm like, put Parker Edwards in.
Why
haven't
they?
What's the problem? Put the kid into the game, and then they put him in there, and he just Steph Curry's a couple of threes into the. It's like, well, you haven't been able to shoot all year, and this guy's just been rotting on the bench.
He played 1 minute all season.
Yeah.
Parker Edwards did.
And that was last night.
No, before last night. Why would you not have put him in before now? This was stupid.
I don't know. Again, I'm not getting into rotations on a basketball team at this point in the year. It's been for what I've covered, the worst year I've ever seen was Trent Johnson had help me out here, Stu, if you can pull some records on this. Trent Johnson in his last season, I believe, won 2 conference games. And from the start of the year to the end of it, there was never hope. Like, there was never a moment where you felt like they were going to be any good. So maybe that team kind of trying to remember, you know, what's the worst experience? Johnny Jones had a terrible ending to his career at LSU. I mean, just kind of skidded on the way out of bad basketball. This has been a little bit different because there were moments in the season where you looked at this team and you thought, you may not compete for the league title, but you're probably going to be competitive in the league. I mean, I'm thinking back to like some non-conference games against Kansas State earlier this season. Mm-hmm. You watch Kansas State play, they're not bad. You know what I mean? For times this year, they've been really good. LSU had them on the ropes. I mean, in fact, it came down to like a controversial call at the end of the game on how it ended, but either way, LSU was on the wrong side of a 1 or 2 point loss, and you're like, okay, well, I mean, if this is where they are in November, well, then hopefully by February and March, they'll be into a different type of form. I mean, the Wake Forest game in Atlanta was a game that you kind of left thinking, I mean, they may not be league champs, but they probably finish in the middle of the pack of the league. You know what I mean? From a top-heavy type of SEC expectation going into the season, you thought, this looks like a, you know, kind of a mid-tier Southeastern Conference ball club. I mean,
you did think that, honestly. We did.
Yeah, no doubt. But I mean, like, since the first of the year, I mean, really, I mean, they beat Arkansas at the end of December to start league play.
Have they not won a game in the new year? Or have they won?
Yeah, they beat Vanderbilt and
that was just that. They just won that. That was the first game they won in 2023.
They won one game in 2023.
I mean, it's hard to say that.
Enjoy yourself.
Out loud,
I mean, and
right?
not only that, like the way that they lose.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're up 13 last night. You got opportunities to kind of play with the lead, and you turn the ball over 16 times. You turn it over 9 times in the last 3 minutes. It's like,
Jesus.
How do you think you can win? I mean, like, there's just, at this point in the season, there's things happening that just shouldn't be happening.
Right.
Right? I mean, when you look at a team that's early on in the year showing signs that they got life. I mean, it's not like that Trent Johnson team where you're, like, asking band members to play. You know, I mean, it was, you knew when they threw that ball up in November that LSU's going to suck. You know, I mean, like, this season you were like, let's see. I mean, they kind of put a cast of characters together in a new way to recruit college sports, and they dipped into the portal, and they were able to pull some high school recruits, and they brought some guys back from last year's roster, and, you know, let's see how it shakes out. It just, I mean, man.
Didn't work out at all.
It did not.
It could go down as one of the worst seasons of all time.
God, you think so?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, they won 2 games.
Yeah, 2 SEC games.
They won 2 SEC games.
y'all.
And the league is not stellar.
Yeah.
I mean, what was it? 2 years ago, they sent 7 teams to the tournament.
Yeah.
And that ain't happening this year.
No.
You know, I mean, like, it's not like it's the poster conference of college basketball. It's not like this is, you know, the league that everybody's fearing within the sport right now. I mean, if you're winning 2 games in this conference right now, what happens if they catch their stride again? You know, I mean, it's just very dark days for LSU.
Where do we go next from here?
Florida.
Nowhere.
Yeah, Florida. That's right.
To close
At
out
Florida.
the season. But, I mean, like, you can't end this thing fast enough.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. Like, I mean, like, this is one of those things where, you know, I mean, it's like the Ben Simmons year. They're like, we're not playing anymore. Like, I'm done with this.
Yeah, but
They quit.
Yeah, they were like,
they got an NIT bid, and they were like, no thanks.
I'm good.
Nah, we're done.
All right.
I mean, I think the season ended at the SEC tournament on a Saturday, and Ben Simmons had packed his stuff and moved out of Baton Rouge by Sunday at 3 o'clock. I mean, it was over. That's what this season feels like. They better build a fence around Jalen Reed and Tyrell Ward, because if they lose those two guys, which in today's college sports, it's very easy to do. Do not think that Tyrell Ward's group, people, team, the people around him aren't taking calls. That there's not people out there that saying, you're not going back to that next year, are you? Because you can come to this and start on a tournament team today. Oh, and by the way, we'll throw in $85,000 legally. You know what I mean? Like Tyrell Ward, Jalen Reed, you lose those two cats, and I mean, you might as well start boarding up the windows of the facility. Forget talking new facilities on the men's side. I mean, I just, and I don't mean to be doom and gloom, but I mean, the fact that 16 turnovers with a 13-point lead in a game that should be winnable on senior night, and you end up losing the way you did, where is the silver lining?
Is this right? Stephen Miller says Johnny Jones has the same amount of wins in Baton Rouge that LSU has in Baton Rouge in 2023.
Yeah, I
Wait,
guess.
repeat that?
Johnny Jones has the same amount of wins in Baton Rouge that LSU
Oh, yes. Yes,
has in
because he
okay.
beat
Southern.
He beat Southern
Okay.
at Texas Southern.
Jeez.
Yeah.
That's rough. Hey, what was with the radio guy in the SEX tournament? What happened there?
What?
Kentucky's radio guy tweeted.
What?
He was like, "Are you ready for the sex tournament?"
Look at
Like
it. Click
the
on it. It's
SEC.
in the bottom of the
Yeah,
doc.
he meant to say SEC tournament, but he put sex tournament. He
I
put
mean,
it on
Twitter's
Twitter,
going wild, but
and
yeah,
you can't
SEX.
like edit the tweet, so it's just up there now.
It's
People
awesome,
are
and it's
losing
gone
it.
like wild.
Uh,
That's pretty funny.
who's the one seed?
Yeah. In the sex tournament?
Yeah.
Mm.
In the SEC basketball sex tournament.
I know, right?
Bruce Pearl?
Yeah. There you go.
I mean,
Guess we gotta go
Harry
back.
Dad.
Yeah, I
I
know,
mean,
right?
that seems to be the search.
Yeah.
Harry Dad.
Could be,
Was that one of the top searches?
It could be
Yeah.
Muscleman.
Yeah, that's
Absolutely.
weird.
For
Mus-
COVID.
Muscleman
Yeah,
might
I
get the
remember
one
that.
seed, coach.
Musselman?
Looks good with the shirt off.
Yeah, big push-up guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, huge push-up guy.
Buzz is a nice dresser.
Yeah.
Nate Oates is the best dresser.
Really?
Oh my God, I love watching what he has on every game.
All right.
Nate Oates is just sneakily sexy.
Oh, wow.
okay,
He is.
Katie.
Yeah, Nate.
Let's see. Let's
He
see.
is. I'd be scared to mess with him
Nate
because
will
he's
vote
too
for
public and too
Nate.
controversial.
Basketball coaches are crazy.
I was telling that to David last night. I was like, man, he's attractive, but like, I wouldn't get into that.
Alabama has truly embraced the villain role of college
oh my
basketball.
gosh, haven't they?
Yeah.
I mean, like they have accepted it. And last night that Auburn Bama game got
I was into
close
that game.
to
It
out
was
of control.
crazy.
Yeah, Katie's reporting from courtside. She was watching the whole
I mean,
thing.
I was into it. It was nuts. I mean, the calls, the fights, like, I mean, it was freaking crazy. That was a good game. Really good game.
All right, we're going to talk to Mike Davis here. We're going to go up to Detroit. This is a big day for the Davises, and we appreciate Coach joining us first on game day. But what could be an enormous day for his dad, for his son. Antoine Davis is 26 points shy of breaking the all-time college basketball scoring record, which has been held by Pistol Pete Maravich since 1970. And that will have an opportunity to be broken tonight as Detroit Mercy is taking on Youngstown State, and we'll throw that up tonight at 7:00 with that on the line. Coach Mike Davis is the head coach at Detroit Mercy, and he will join us next here to talk all about it and dip into some memories of college basketball with him next year on the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet.
Before we break, can we talk about that QR code real quick?
Yeah, hit
please?
it. Go.
Everybody see that little QR code in the top right corner? It's not Caesars anymore. It will take you to our website where we have partnered with the Athletic Collection. And I think we've shown y'all some of the posters before. You can buy the posters on that site, and when you scan them, you can see like the players in action, their songs on the posters. They're really cool. Mikey's show is also selling them, and so is Nick's show, and everybody has a QR code specific to their show. So when you turn on the show, if you can scan that QR code, you can get LSU posters, cups, stickers, and also their Saints gear on there too. And we get a little portion of the proceeds. So please scan and shop away.
We'll be back. More of the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet.
Donaldsonville Glass and Body, the trusted name in frame, body, and automotive paint repair since 1977. They have served their customers for over 45 years. You can find them online at dgbauto.com or stop in and see them Railroad Avenue and Division Street out in Donaldsonville, Louisiana. Look, they can help you with your insurance claims. They can make the repair process as stress-free as possible. I'm speaking from experience here. I've got numerous windshields, body repair, all done by Kenny and the crew over at Donaldsonville Glass and Body. They are, without question, the most well-equipped shop in the area. Stop in and see them today. Shop them online, dgbauto.com, or stop in and see the crew over in Division Street in Donaldsonville, Louisiana. Donaldsonville Glass and Body. Hey fellas, it's Jordy Culotta for my friends over at Men's Total Health. Guys, do you suffer from fatigue, decreased libido, erectile dysfunction, weight gain or loss of muscle mass, signs of depression, anxiety, hair loss, mental fog, general loss of interest? Then you might be suffering from low testosterone. Go see my friend Mike Roach and his great team over at Men's Total Health over in Metairie at menstotalhealth.net online. And stop in and see how they can change your life today. A simple shot and some knowledge from Mike Roach can get you back up, moving with your energy, get your sex drive back, build your muscle mass, make you feel young again. All online, menstotalhealth.net. Red Stick Sports, a local staple in Baton Rouge to all sports fans, was founded back in 1981 and has remained a family business for over 40 years. Today, they still have the great selection on the floor, but they're also a leader in custom apparel for businesses, sports teams, and other groups. Take it from us, everybody over here at FM Digital Media. They help us out with all of our apparel. Let them help you out today. Go ask for Cody over at Red Stick Sports. Check him out online at redsticksports.biz.
We're all from different places and backgrounds. We've each experienced our own versions of life, but in the end, we're all on the same team. I'm part of that team, along with these players in purple and gold.
Kayshawn Buddha, Malik Neighbors, Miles Frazier,
Kyron Lacy,
Greg Brooks.
Whether on the field or in the courtroom, your team matters.
So join our team.
Make a difference.
Bet. Let's get it done.
All right, really been looking forward to our next conversation. One of our listeners, Dwayne Dumars, up in Detroit, who is a loyal listener, set us up with our next guy, and we are grateful for this. We are honored to talk to Coach Mike Davis. What an incredible basketball resume he has. That actually, he being from Alabama, started in the SEC, so there's a lot that we can talk to him about, including tonight, what is on the line for his team. Detroit Mercy is obviously playing in the Horizon League tournament. They got an opening round win, and they're taking on the 1 seed tonight in Youngstown. And a cool moment for his family. His son has an opportunity, Antoine, after scoring 38 in the opening round. He's just 26 points shy of a record that has stood since 1970 and held by LSU's own Pistol Pete Maravich, and that is a huge record. And that is the NCAA career scoring record, which could go down tonight. Maravich, which had scored 3,667 points in his time at LSU, could see that number go down tonight. And we are looking forward to our next conversation. Who's the head coach of Detroit Mercy, the Titans, who got a big one tonight. And joining us here on Game Day is Coach Mike Davis. Coach, thank you for the time. Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate being on.
Absolutely. Let's start with the moment tonight. How cool is this in just being a dad? I mean, is there an ability to separate this?
Definitely. I have to. We trying to get to the NCAA tournament. That's our goal, is to get there, and that's the focus.
How cool has this been, just kind of the ride? And you've coached your son before. You coached Mike Jr. at UAB, and now getting a chance to coach Antoine. How cool is that dynamic, and how challenging is that dynamic, I guess, at times?
Well, it's been great for me. My oldest son, I really didn't have the information that I had with Antoine. You know, you listen to a lot of friends and they tell you emotional things, and they kept telling me that he was going to be okay. Don't worry about working him out too much. You know, let him love it, let him this, let him that. And so I kind of listened to him a little bit. And then once I started working with Antoine, I got so much information, and because I wasn't really up on the grassroots training and how it goes. Because a lot of college coaches, now I can't speak for college coaches myself, but me, I was just really focused on older guys and just trying to clean up some things with them. But the grassroots thing is totally different when you're working with young kids. It's totally different in your approach because you started from scratch, and that's why I didn't make a mistake with my older boy. I just didn't have the information I had when I had with Antoine. So it's been great, watching videos and studying up on players and reading up on people that what they did when they was younger and reading stories, and it really helped me through his process of becoming a good basketball player.
How would you describe his game? I mean, he's a lethal scorer, and he's like his size is not overwhelming. He kind of, and I don't mean to throw this around because I know this is like basketball royalty, but I mean, it kind of feels like Steph Curry, like Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf, where he finds a way to get his shot off.
Well, I read this book, and it's a book called The Little Book of Talent, and it talks about finding windshields, and windshields are the 5 people that do what you do, but they're like the best in what you do. And believe it or not, Mahmoud was one of his windshields. And,
wow.
And Mahmoud got a chance to come up and train him in Detroit like 2 or 3 different occasions. And so we've worked on things. Like I said, I've talked to so many people and had opportunity to Steve Nash was his windshield. Got a chance to talk to Steve Nash, had a chance to talk to Mahmoud. Coach Lucas trained him for like 6-7 years, 8 years while we was in Houston. And so he's well programmed. He's trained the right way, and everything that he's doing, he's done it thousands of times. So it may look difficult, but he's programmed and trained that way.
What is your memories of Pistol Pete? You grew up in the South, and I guess you were about 10 years old when Pete was at LSU. Do you have any memories of watching him play at LSU?
I never watched him play when I was growing up, but everybody heard that name, knew that name, and knew what it stood for. But the intriguing thing for me, like I said, when I was beginning to work with Antoine, Pistol Pete, it came out with a instructional video. And it was so simple the way he explained and showed it, like it was unbelievable. It was genius the way he explained, and like a 60-year-old man could go out and do it. So got the video, started reading up on him, and it was so similar. It was so similar. I'm not comparing them by no means. I'm just telling you the things that we stole from him. Mm-hmm. And it was more of, okay, he played for his dad. He worked out with college players. He dominated college players, his dad's team. His dad was saying how, it was hard for him to recruit because when the recruit came in, Pistol was better. Uh-huh. And so how he would dribble the basketball, riding the car outside of the window. And so I was like, wow, all of this made sense to me. Everything made sense to me. I was like, why not, train Antoine that way, And I was fortunate enough to not only have Antoine go out in the garage and do the ball handling drills over and over and over again, but also have a guy like John Lucas in his life that when we moved to Houston, he was very demanding, really, really tough, and he got a chance to go against pros and work out with pros, and it was college players as well, and it was just a beautiful story.
What's the challenge you face tonight going up against the 1 seed?
Well, they're gonna double him and triple him. Last time we played, they just run guys all over the court to try to double and triple him, and other guys just got to step up and make plays, for us tonight, and I think he only had 15 points the last time we played. The first game he had 32, then we played a team, and that team doubled and tripled him. Then like everybody's kind of like copycats, mm-hmm. So they started doubling and tripling him, and we just got to make sure that we understand our spacing and get to our spacing and share the basketball quick.
You played at Bama between 78 and 83, I believe. Many believe down here in Baton Rouge that the best basketball team LSU ever had was back in 81. Do you remember that squad? And if you do, what do you remember about them?
I think they had Dwayne Scales and Willie Sims and Howard Carter and all those guys. It was a really good team, really physical, really tough. Ethan Martin. I remember the team. I think Rudy Mack was on that team. Cook. It was a very good basketball team.
Coach, can you take me back to and I don't mean to get off I know the subject here is about Antoine and the scoring record, but while I have you, and I'd love to just kind of pick your brain for a couple of minutes on what that time was like in Bloomington, Indiana, when Bobby Knight was fired and you were the next guy up, and then a couple of years later you're in a Final Four, and it seems like, everybody that I've told over the last couple of 24 hours that you were coming on really remember you in that time of college basketball and have kind of been following your career since. I know I have, but can you take me back to that time and just what it was like for you to take that position in that moment following that personality?
Well, it was a great opportunity, a great situation, but my focus was more on the players that was there. They didn't want to leave. They wanted to stay. They wanted me to stay, and I stayed. And my whole basketball career has been like work hard, work hard, work hard. So from that standpoint, I was definitely prepared for the work. But was I prepared for the position? I don't think so. But we worked, and we ended up, playing for a national championship the next year. And so it was a beautiful time for me and my family. Antoine was born in Bloomington, Indiana. So it was really, really, really good for us.
Was there pressure for you just because of the moment? I mean, I don't think people can recall just the grip that Knight had on that program and that town at the time. And, since then it's all been kind of figured out of, just how much of a tyrant he was. But what was that like, kind of the ghost of him still being around there?
Well, it's always pressure when you come by yourself, but it's not pressure when you bring God with you. Mm-hmm. And I think when I first started off, I brought myself. And when we made the Final Four run, I had God with me. And so it took away all the thoughts and all the nervousness and all the fears and everything, because I was just focused on, what he wanted me to do and just, accept it, what would be. And that's what made it, easier for me being in that position.
Last one, Coach. I'll get you out of here. Game day. What is today going to be like? I mean, I can't imagine what this day is going to be like for Antoine, right? I mean, the 8 o'clock tip-off is going to feel like it's going to come next week.
Well, we always play at 7, and our routine has changed a little bit. They have a girls' game before our game, and Antoine's a different kid. He loves Pistol Pete. He loves what he's done for basketball, and he's never comparing himself to him because he knows that. And that's what I love about this whole situation. He's not a kid that's out to break a record. It's a kid that respect what has been done by Pistol Pete and there's never ever would be another Pistol Pete from not just the scoring standpoint, but the way he worked. And, the name Pistol Pete is just like special. I think he just trying to win a basketball game, and if it happens, he's never going to compare himself to Pistol Pete. Because he always say, and it's kind of funny to him to say this, he's the best school of his generation, of this generation. The game has changed so much. So many things have been implemented in college basketball, NCAA basketball. It's so different, and so I haven't talked to him today at all. We have breakfast here in a minute, but I know he's excited about winning the basketball game more than anything.
Coach Davis, this is a cool day. I know for your program, it's a cool day for your fan base. It's probably even a cooler day for your family. Thanks for carving out a couple of minutes for us here this morning. Good luck tonight, man. We'll be watching. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me on. We appreciate it. Thank you.
There he is. Mike Davis checking in this morning from Detroit as Detroit Mercy will take on Youngstown State, the number 1 seed in the Horizon Valley Conference, as his son Antoine just 26 points shy away from snapping a college basketball record, a scoring record that has stood since January 31st, 1970, when Pistol Pete played his last collegiate basketball game. And in just 3 seasons, Pete dropped 3,667 points. Davis is 26 points shy of that tonight. What is 300? What's 3,667 minus 26, Katie?
I don't know.
Ooh, that's our math genius
I'm
on
doing
staff.
math
I was
on
gonna say,
air.
don't
What you got?
ask me.
I already did that one time, remember?
Wait, 3,000. How much?
3,667 minus 26. This is pretty easy. As
I'm
far
not
as
even
I know.
listening to you. I already walked into this a long time ago on air, and I never lived it down. I think people like
Come on, Stu. You're getting a
tweeted
long
about
time to
it and
think over
everything.
there.
I know.
It's giving
Still
you a long time to cover
horrible
it
at
up.
math, coach.
Let's go 360. Let's go 3,667 minus 20. You would give me
God.
minus 20.
3667 minus 20. That is 3,
4, 6,
4, 6,
7. So 3, 4, 6, 7 minus 6 leaves us with
Oh God. This is the parents' math homework.
Katie.
There's a YouTube, not a YouTube account.
Katie?
There's a Twitter. Well, I don't know. I'm not listening to you with your numbers, but there's a
3,000.
Twitter account called Name a Woman where he goes up to people in the street and is just like, name a woman, and you cannot do it. Like you can't, like it's just on the spot like that. Like they can't do it. It is the funniest thing ever.
Like what type of woman are we naming?
Any woman.
Any woman.
It's like he'll go up to him. It's that funny guy. I can't remember
Princess Di?
his name. Yeah, it'd be like that. And he goes up to the street. I mean, he goes up to people in the street, like in New York, and he's like, "Name a woman for $1. Name a woman." People know who this guy is. He's famous, and I can't remember who he is. And you can't. People are like, "What? Any? Like, who's the one?" Like, and he's like, "It's any woman. Like anybody." Like they can't do it.
Oh, I'd hit him with the Michelle Obama.
There you
Something.
go. See,
Like,
you have to
gotta be
like
quick
think
with it,
about it. You have
coach.
to
No
think
doubt.
about it.
You just gotta be quick. Just find something. Think about something
It's
fast.
on the spot things that people can't. It's something in your brain that
Pamela
like,
Anderson. Great documentary on Pamela Anderson on
I
Netflix.
saw a preview for that, and it did look pretty good.
You want to you just forget.
She's held up pretty well.
She has. She has.
How old is
she's,
she?
she's married everybody that's come across her site in the last 5 years.
I mean, yeah.
But
She tells about like Tommy Lee and
she's
like.
still in love with Tommy Lee.
Oh, really? It says
Madly
that. Well,
in
I
love.
saw that she like
Madly in love.
apologized or like reached out to his current wife, who was like kind of weird about the documentary, but then they were like, "Never
Yeah,
mind,
she
it's
should
cool."
be.
Yeah, that's what
The current wife should be.
that's what people were saying.
I mean,
yeah.
it's heavy. Like they.
Well, they didn't even know each other like when they got married, right?
Yeah, they went to a trip to Cancun. The story of how they came about is as about of rock star as you can script it.
Yeah.
Like it's as like Tommy Lee saw her on a photo shoot and was like just like stalking her. Like he was like they were on the same talk show together. He was like knocking on the door. You know, she was like, "You got to leave me alone." Like I was going through a break. She was going through a breakup, and she was like, "I'm just not ready to do all this." And finally, like he would like call her all the time. This is before cell phones.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This is before you could like just track anybody down that you want to find. And he like finally like gets through to her one time, and he's like, "What are you doing? Where are you going? I want to take you out." And she's like, "I can't. I have a photo shoot in Cancun." And he's like, "Perfect."
And he goes to Cancun.
Him and his boys load up and go to Cancun for the week, and they're like, and they find out where they are, and they go to the bar, and they ended up partying and just living rock star lives, and they got married 3 days later.
That is so weird.
It's crazy, but they ended up like staying married. And
for how long though?
I don't know specifically how long, but I mean, without question, the media and the just you forget on how intense that was at the time, because like I said, I mean, when they first got together, there was no cell phones and social media. By the time they got divorced, they were everywhere.
Yeah, right. Did they didn't have kids, right?
Yes.
They did have kids
they had
together?
2 sons.
Oh, geez. I guess I,
mean,
didn't think they
like,
lasted
I think
that
one of
long.
those sons had to go to rehab.
No, like they
Probably.
And she's like saved every letter, saved
Really?
all the pictures, like can go back and tell stories of the time in their life, and you can tell when she talks about this dude that she's
still there.
still really in love with him.
Maybe they get back together.
I don't think so, man.
You know, it happens though. I know people that are older that like get divorced younger, then they end up like coming back around and
no doubt
finding
about it.
each
But like
other.
he's remarried.
Yeah, I know.
He's remarried to like a influencer, like a YouTuber.
Yeah, she's cute.
Um,
She seems normal. You don't think so? Have you seen her?
No, I'm just saying like
Yeah, I mean,
those
for
people are
him,
like those people are usually really fake.
yeah, influencers. Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
But I'm
like
just
a
saying.
real-
But if you're looking for a good watch, I'm telling you, the Pamela Anderson
Yeah.
documentary, because we were, I mean, when we were coming up, I mean, she was the deal.
Yeah,
I mean,
Baywatch, right?
yeah. And she like
You don't
it was
know. I don't know
crazy.
why we're including you in this.
Born in '96.
Shut
It was
up.
crazy to watch. Like she made no money off of Baywatch.
Why?
I mean, like,
how
'cause
could
they-
she not? Who
they just
paid
kinda,
for
like,
those boobs then?
Duped her from Hollywood. You know, like I mean,
Who
they
paid
kinda,
for
like,
those?
just duped her with a. I mean, she made some money because of her
Right.
Baywatch experience, but I mean, you would think that would be her money maker, and she made like peanuts off of. It was weird. It was.
Well,
I mean,
she
it was
wasn't considered
it
like
was
a
a
really
different
good
time,
actress, right?
Right.
And they
right.
used to also pay female actors less
Right.
than male actors.
For sure. For sure. But she did what, like Playboy and things like that? That's where
Yeah.
her money really came from.
Right,
And now, isn't she doing like some serious thing? Is she on like stage now?
Yeah, she's
performing?
Yeah, she's
That's
she's,
cool.
Yeah, she and really and truly, if you watch this, she's a very likable person.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
yeah.
Like, she's a very down to earth. She's kind of she's got a really cool sense of humor.
Yeah.
where she's like a little self-deprecating, but I mean also you can tell she's got that confidence to her still. That
Yeah.
I mean, at one point in her life, I'm sure got her everything.
She's worth
For sure.
20 million.
Is she?
She needed to do this, I think. I think it's probably good for her
Yeah.
to do this.
No, it
because
was- it
People view
was.
her as like
I thought
an
it was
idiot, you know.
I think it came off for her very well.
Yeah.
Very well. Appreciate Mike Davis for stopping by here on the Jordy Culotta Show. That was cool. Good perspective from
Yeah,
Coach
it
Davis
was
here on
nice.
game day as his son Antoine goes for it. And I know people are melting over this, but I'm telling you,
Yeah, they are.
the
Get a
pistol
life.
the Pistol Pete story is never going to be erased from college basketball. This guy is going to be one of the he'll be one of the faces. I mean, his name is in his name and face is on. You know, I mean, I hate this saying, but I mean, it's on the Mount Rushmore of college basketball. I mean, it really is. I mean, and it always will be. And Antoine Davis's will not. You know, I mean, he'll be a great story and moment that he'll always have. But for the most part, this record will always be recognized with some sense of story of Pistol Pete in it.
Well, why are we mad about it then?
I don't-
Why are we making the
people-
comparison
Who is
and
mad?
we're upset about
Who
I
it?
is
mean,
mad?
LSU fans are just
Who is
weird.
mad? Who is mad?
Oh, a lot of people in the
They're-
chatter
they're real
are
anal
mad
about
about
it.
What are
that
they
record.
saying? Like, what?
I
like,
mean, that it was a COVID record.
Okay.
So is that part
Okay,
of it?
That's fine.
A COVID record. What do we? I mean,
Like, did they
because
get
he-
another year because of
Yeah.
COVID?
Oh
Yeah.
my
Because he's
God.
done it in 5 years.
Right. The
Okay,
timing.
Okay.
could've
because
Well,
of
then
taken
that.
a year
all of
anyway.
that can be explained.
The 3-point line.
Okay. I mean, but that's what, the first thing that you say about Pistol Pete holding the record is that he did it with there was no 3-point line and that there was no shot clock. So when you explain Antoine Davis is that he did it in 5 years with a 3-point line and a shot clock, that's different.
Yeah.
And it's also going to be described that it took Pete 84 games to accomplish the record, and it's taking Antoine, I believe this is his 146th game tonight. You know what I mean? Like, it's a different record.
Yeah.
Pete played 3 years. This guy played 5. There was no shot clock. There is a shot clock. There was no 3-point line. There is a 3-point line. This guy's playing in the postseason. Pete rarely played in the postseason. You know, I mean, it was there's all types of caveats. There's all types of descriptions that you can give to the record. At the end of it, it's still Pete's deal, man.
Right.
And Pete's always going to be the story that leads college basketball. I mean, it's wasted breath. It's wasted time. It's wasted energy to get all riled up over Pistol Pete losing this record when a year and a half, 2 years from now, when you talk about the scoring leader in college basketball, you think Antoine Davis's name's going to roll off your tongue? You think you're going to remember the kid from Detroit Mercy that played for his dad?
on Dick Vitale Court. Don't forget about
I mean, it's always going to be Pete. Man.
It is.
You know, I mean, let the kid have his moment. Let the kid enjoy tonight.
Yeah.
What a cool day for him and his parents and his family and his school and that program. I mean, he's 26 points shy of breaking a record that stood since 1970.
Every record is going to be broken
I mean,
eventually. Nothing's forever.
I saw Cal Ripken eating breakfast. Katie and I saw Cal Ripken eating breakfast at Zeeland Street
That was
last
wild.
week. I mean, he was just sitting there.
Wow.
He was
Just
like, I was getting coffee and
chilling.
he was like staring
Just
at me and I went back to
chilling,
the
bro.
table and I was like,
Gotta
who is
put
that?
something
It was almost.
He
was
said
so,
no.
He was so comfortable that I didn't want
Yeah.
to approach him.
Yeah.
Don't wanna mess
Like
with
that,
him.
I wanted to have the respect for. He was sitting with someone who was either his wife, his publicist, and or somebody. It was either his wife or somebody that he works with.
She was
because
a very professional, pretty woman.
they spent a lot of time together because they just sat at the breakfast table and did not say a word to one another.
They didn't, and they kept looking at us,
and they kept
I was like,
staring.
He's so familiar.
At me and
Jordy's
Katie,
like, that's
and it was
freaking
like to a
Cal.
point. I mean, I was like almost wanted to like tip the cap to him. You know, like loved you in the All-Star game in 2000.
Hey Cal, I read your book for AR points.
I mean, he had some LSU baseball swag on.
His
He
eyes.
had spoke to the game. Yeah, his eyes were
piercing
just
eyes.
just glistening. The sunlight was catching him perfectly.
Yeah.
He's huge.
He is
Yeah, he
huge.
is.
He's huge. I had no idea that he was that big.
I was
Isn't he
like,
like
Jordy,
6'?
do we go over?
Isn't he like 6'4"?
He's,
Like 6'4", 6'5", something.
I mean, he's like
He's
A-Rod.
tall. Mhm.
I mean, he's built like A-Rod. Like, I mean, if anybody has seen A-Rod in person, I have seen A-Rod up close one time in Chicago, and I could not get over
how big
A-Rod was. I had no idea that A-Rod was the size he was until I met him.
Big, solid
Cal
guy.
Ripken was I mean, like, we were standing behind each other at the fountain drink line. And I mean, I was scoping this dude. I mean, like, I took a step back and went heels to neck on Cal Ripken of just like.
Did you check the ass
Look
and
at
ankles?
look at this 60-year-old, bro.
Yeah, he looked good.
Did you go ass to ankles?
Ass to ankles, absolutely. You can tell at one point he had a great ass. It's fallen. It's got a little old man falling.
Yeah.
Gravity has taken the ass to a different level. But I mean, you can see that this man at one point was the best shortstop in the world. I mean, for
6'4".
about it, but all of 6'4", Stewie. All of 6'4". Give me a weight on Cal. I'm guessing 235, 240.
Yeah, he's thick.
I mean, this
thick.
dude is put together, bruh. I mean, like,
200. That was
no, that's playing weight. That's playing weight. That's playing weight. Cal still wishes he could wear 200. But it was
cool to see him. But it was weird. You're right. They didn't talk to each other at all. They just kind
At
of looked
all.
around the whole time.
At all.
It was like they were taking it in.
But it's as if they've done this a million times.
Yeah.
You know, we're either married or we've done.
Yes.
We've done the college speaking tour.
Yeah.
You know,
It was a
where are we
comfortable
today?
Silence. A very
Where are we?
comfortable silence.
Athens or Baton Rouge? Is this Gainesville or Tuscaloosa? You know, what team am I speaking to tonight?
But I think he had a little connection with LSU because him
Ben
and
McDonald.
McDonald played together,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Didn't he call pitches? Cal Ripken. Didn't Cal Ripken call the pitches from shortstop? or
Absolutely, he did. Absolutely. Well, I mean, like, he played for his dad.
something? Yeah.
I mean, his dad was the manager, Billy Ripken.
Mm-hmm.
That was the manager for the Orioles. I mean,
Read
his
that
brother
book.
played. I think his brother was like a juice head, allegedly. That's probably difficult to be Cal's brother.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You know, it's like being
Might
Barry
have been
Bonds.
Billy Ripken Jr.
Barry Bonds' brother. Like,
His name's Billy Ripken Jr.?
I think so. Check
Yeah.
me on that.
Okay. Interesting. Okay.
Cody Boudreaux, Cal is a man's man. He definitely looked
Yeah.
like a man's man.
He did.
Yeah. Looks like he talks about barbecue and chopping wood.
Chopping wood.
putting tires on his truck.
Yeah, right. Changing the oil in
Driving
his truck today.
fence posts.
Yeah, right.
Gotta go change that damn oil, man. Shit.
I'm sure he's doing all that on his own. Oh, Jeff said his daughter's going to LSU vet school.
Sweet.
That's cool.
Is she hot? I mean,
I don't know. Look her
how
up.
does she look?
Jeff, is she hot or not? That's all that matters here. First and foremost, are they hot?
Stewie is he's the head of our intern department.
He is the head of hotness.
Hey, look. Gotta get him in here, coach.
He can make you or break you around here.
Hour 2, we're going to start with Booger McFarland. Anthony is going to be here at 8 a.m. We're going to talk to him about some college football and some NFL storylines. We'll also get his thoughts about coming back to Baton Rouge for the Coaches Clinic, as he will be here as the guest speaker for the Coaches Clinic coming up in April. So we'll talk to Boog all about that. If you have a question, get inside of the chat, including and hit that like button, share button, comment button.
Oh, look, Darren Tross says you should see his baseball academy here in Baltimore. It's called the Field of Dreams, 5 fields on 10 acres of land, including hotels. That's
I get
cool.
it. Cal looks like that type of guy.
Yeah.
I mean, he looks like he lives a great life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Just
Flies
relax.
He
private
does.
everywhere. Stays in 5-star hotels. He kind of looked a little out of place at Zealand Street.
He looked
Kinda
very
like,
out of place.
You know, like, what's going on here?
What
Yeah,
is
I'm
this
used to
place?
eating
Did they just
private.
call my name when the order's ready? Or
Right.
did somebody bring it to me and serve it to me on my silver spoon here? I mean,
On the
he
silver
looks,
platter.
he looks like he just lives
He looks very clean.
A
He had a
great
very
life,
clean
very
aesthetic.
clean.
Yeah.
very, chill.
Yep.
Not worried about any bills.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like just kind of worried about what are we eating?
I wonder if he paid. Like, did
No.
they know who he was at the register?
No, I don't think I didn't catch from the Zealand crew that they knew who Cal was, but you could tell people in the restaurant. I saw somebody walk in like probably like a 45-year-old guy, like right around my age, and he walked in and he was kind of like on the phone, and Cal was sitting directly next to the fountain drinks. You know, so like if you were going to get a drink, his table was sitting right there, and Cal was sitting with his back to the wall looking at the restaurant. So, I mean, like, he was on full display. Like, I mean, you're like, holy shit, there's Cal Ripken.
Cal Ripken in here.
And this guy, like, walks in and he's, like, moving fast. He's, like, on the phone, and you can tell he's, like, looks at Cal Ripken. He's, like, kind of thinking to himself, like,
Is this
that Cal Ripken?
That's like what I did.
Is that Zealand? I mean, Zealand and Perkins, is that Cal Ripken Jr. sitting in that booth? And you can tell he's like, I think Cal Ripken Jr. is in where I got some breakfast. You know, the guy's like, you can tell the guy's like, no way. He's like, no, man, I'm serious. I think Cal Ripken's like sitting right here. And you can tell Cal kind of gives him like a, you know, like, it's me. You know? Like, it's me. And the guy was like, oh, yeah, it's Cal. And you could tell Cal was kind of like, all right, man, okay.
All right. Relax.
Shake your hand. You know what I mean? And that's why I was like, I'm not going to say anything to him, man.
No.
I'm not. I hate to be that. I mean, if he'd have walked by, he was glaring at us.
He
a
was,
lot.
Jordy. That's what I was saying. I was like, who's that guy that keeps staring? He's so familiar. And Jordy's like, it's freaking Cal Ripken. Like, oh, God, it is.
He's looking at us.
He was looking at us a lot.
It's Jordy, Coach.
I know, right? We know you watch every day. If you want to come get a photo,
it's me, Cal.
fine.
Can you quit staring, please? Thank you.
I'll autograph something. Like, do you have a napkin?
All right, we're going to talk to Booger McFarland next here on the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet.
Hey Baton Rouge, when traveling through Natchez, Mississippi, whether you need to fill up your vehicle or your belly, stop by Go-Mart and On The Go Deli. Go-Mart has clean restrooms, community coffee, an awesome beer cave, and a great selection of anything you might need on your trip. So stop by Go-Mart at 4 Sergeant Prentice Drive as you're entering Natchez on the left, and visit Tom and Wright Granning and their awesome team at Go-Mart.
In a wreck, Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys is ready to go to work for you. Come meet your team.
I'm your intake specialist. I coordinate your case and connect you with your attorney and paralegal.
That's us, your legal team.
Thanks.
And we'll fight to get you every dollar you deserve.
I'm your settlements and disbursement manager, and I'm here to get you paid on time.
I'm attorney Gordon McKernan. Put our team to work today. Just call us. Get it done.
Are you looking for sound financial advice? Then get in touch with Daniel Newman of Edward Jones. You can call him today at 225-261-8262 or email him daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. If you're planning for retirement, saving for college for children or grandchildren, or just looking for sound investment opportunities, get in touch with Daniel today, 225-261-8262, located on Magnolia Square Drive in Central. Daniel Newman of Edward Jones.
Don't let the name fool you. Men's Total Health has offerings for the ladies, too. Guys, is your wife or partner suffering from urinary incontinence, low sexual desire, or pain during sex? Then the O-Shot might be for her. Don't let it scare you. It's totally natural. It's PRP. And Mike Roach and the crew at Men's Total Health will make you as comfortable as you can be. Contact me for more information, Katie at jordyculotta.com, and I'm happy to tell you everything that Men's Total Health has to offer for the ladies.
Fourier Insurance Agency, established in 1946, locally can help you with any of your home, auto, commercial, contractors, life and health insurance today. Give them a call, 225-383-0682, or log online to FourierAgency.com.
That And they ever told you look like Booger McFarland?
Did that guy just say that somebody tell you look like Booger McFarland? Did that just happen? Oh my God! What just happened?
Live radio. Okay, yeah, live radio. I'm trying to pick my coffee order up, and the guy, I told him to be quiet, but he still wants to talk.
Did he say that somebody else tell you that you look like Booger McFarland?
Exactly. This is after I gave him the be quiet sign, okay? And he still said that.
A golden moment early in our show's existence. Very early. One of our great friends, was helping us out very early on, which we will always be grateful for. He is vastly become one of the most famous faces that covers college and the NFL. He will be back home as the featured speaker for the Coaches Clinic on LSU football's campus, which will be in mid-April. So hopefully we'll be able to get him in the studio when he comes back down to Baton Rouge. But it's always good to link up with our friend Booger McFarland, who joins us here on this Thursday morning. Boog, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. How we doing?
Doing all right, man. It was good to see your name come across the wire, that you're going to be the headline speaker coming home, coming back to a place where you dominated at one point. How cool was that to get the call?
Yeah, it's cool, man. I'm looking forward to it. You know, I mean, I've been blessed to be able to be paid to talk, so it's always fun when you get an opportunity to do it in familiar surroundings, familiar places. And, you know, for me, who I've been coached all my life, and whether it's football or, you know, broadcasting or whatever. So to be able to come back and talk to coaches and especially coaches that touch young people in high school football, and I'm sure there'll be some college coaches there. So I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely, Boog. Boog, I thought, look, man, your post-playing career resume is unmatched. It's as good as anybody that has done media in sports. But I thought the night that you were on the desk that DeMar Hamlin got hurt was your best work. And it was unscripted, and you were just being yourself. But I always told myself in watching that, the next time I talked to you, I just wanted to ask you about that moment because of the way that you handled it, the way that you humanized the moment, and the way that you could tell your coworkers and counterparts were leaning on you to help them get through that moment. What was that like for you on live television?
Well, it's one of those moments, man, that obviously you hope you're never a part of or you're never in. And, you know, when it happens, I think, you know, human nature is your instincts take over. And unfortunately for me, I've been in a few situations like that before. I was on the air during the Pro Bowl when Kobe Bryant's helicopter crashed earlier that day, and we had to announce that. I was on live radio when Aaron Hernandez hung himself, and we had to announce that. I was doing local radio in Tampa when the Boston bombings happened. So, you know, as I said, unfortunately, I've been on the air before when tragic things are happening and your instincts take over, where you just try to empathize in the moment. You try to share your natural, honest emotions, and you just try to be as transparent and as honest as you can in those moments.
What do you think will happen because of that moment? Will anything happen because of that moment? That was such a strong moment, man.
Yeah, I don't know if anything's going to happen. I mean, listen, guys. I mean, it's not the first time we've seen paramedics on the field. It's not the first time we've seen a player have a kind of a life-threatening injury. It's the first time we've seen CPR performed, and I think that really took a lot of people back. But yeah, I mean, the NFL is a collision sport, and the injury rate is 100%. Usually, the injuries though are orthopedic, or they are neurologic. Rarely ever are they cardiovascular. And I think that's the thing that kind of shocked everyone is that here is a life that's in the balance on live television, and we're all sitting here just watching. And I think that, you know, the NFL has done everything they can and continue to do to make this game safer. But ultimately, man, it's a game that we sign up for, realizing that the injury rate is 100%. And we just hope and pray that we never get in situations where our life is on the line on that field.
Do you go to the combine?
No, I'm not a combine guy. I don't want to see guys running around in t-shirts and shorts, looking pretty. And here's the thing about the combine. Guys go and they train for 6 weeks in shorts and t-shirts to come look good in shorts and t-shirts. I hope they look good in shorts and t-shirts. So it really doesn't do anything for me. But it'll be fun because we in this country are obsessed with the NFL. So everybody will be on social media this weekend talking about, man, look how good he looks in shorts. And I hope they realize that the game of football is not played in shorts.
Sean Payton's back in the NFL. What do you make of them, and what do you expect from Denver?
Sean Payton's a Super Bowl winning head coach. He is an offensive mastermind. He's got his hands full with Russell Wilson, though, because Russell had arguably the worst year of his career last year, and he wasn't good. And quite frankly, the last couple of years haven't been good, regardless what the statistics say. He's got a really good defense. I like his coordinator hire in Vance Joseph. I think they're going to be really solid. The key will be the quarterback. If he can get Russell to be efficient, they'll win a lot of football games. If he can't, then I'm afraid he's going to be stuck with Russell because of the contract, because I don't think they can leave or move away from Russell for another 2 years. So Sean has got his work cut out for him, but it's a challenge that I think he's looked forward to. I think he wanted a new challenge, which is the reason why he took a year off and left the Saints. So hopefully he's up to it, but I know he's got a lot of work ahead of him.
Tyreek Hill dealt to Miami. Tyrann Mathieu signs with New Orleans in free agency, and Kansas City wins another Super Bowl. What does Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes got going on in KC, and how long can this last?
Well, I mean, Patrick Mahomes is signed for the next, 7, 8, 9 years. Andy Reid doesn't seem to be slowing down. It can go on as long as, there's no catastrophic injury, man, because they got rid of Tyreek Hill and they still won a Super Bowl championship because of the brilliance of Patrick Mahomes. And I think when you couple that with Brett Veach, who's a GM, who does a phenomenal job of picking and choosing which players that he needs to keep, because not a lot of people would have let Tyreek Hill go, but they did.
Yeah.
And I think as you look at what they have now, as long as Brett Veach, Andy Reid, and Patrick Mahomes are there, they're going to be in the mix and a contender every year. And some year the ball is going to bounce their ways. They've won 2 championships. Some years it's not. But they've made 5 straight AFC championship games. And if you make it to that game, you're 1 game from the Super Bowl. So they've been in the mix ever since Patrick Mahomes became the starter. And I think they'll continue to be in the mix going forward.
What do you think Aaron Rodgers is going to do?
Hopefully something soon, because I'm tired of talking about it.
I bet. You think Tom Brady's done for good?
Absolutely. I think he's done. I think Tom is in a position now where he's probably got a little bit more, but mentally I think he's exhausted. People don't realize that, the game of football also affects your life off the field.
Yeah.
And his life off the field has been affected a great deal, and I think mentally he's done.
Boog, you know him a little bit. What if San Francisco calls him in August?
I don't think he's going. I honestly think he's in a position now where he's done, man. I think he sent his papers in. I think he is looking forward to just being a dad, man. I mean, for 25 years, it's been football. I think now he just wants to be a father. I often say this, Jordy, is that what good does it do for you to gain everything monetarily, stature-wise, but you never get to enjoy it? Like at some point, I'm not working for just my kids. I'm working so I can enjoy some of these things also. So at some point, you got to retire. You got to, wake up a little later and go to the golf course and enjoy some of the fruits of your labor.
Last one, I'll get you out of here. You'll be down here in mid-April. You're the headline speaker for the Coaches Clinic for LSU during spring practice. What have you seen from Brian Kelly year 1 going into year 2 of what he's got going on down here in Baton Rouge?
I think the simplest way to put it is this, is that LSU is a Fortune 500 company where the CEO wasn't running the company right. They bring in a new CEO in Brian Kelly, and the Fortune 500 company goes back to where it was, which is being one of the best. Now, can it be number 1? Yeah, things have got to fall the right way. But, I mean, LSU 9-10 wins should be the minimum. And I think Brian Kelly achieved that in year 1. But as we all know, the expectations are only going to go higher. And so for him, he's got to be ready to achieve those expectations.
What time you tee off today?
No tee off. I played yesterday.
So true.
I don't know what this is.
It would not be a Booger McFarland interview without phone problems. If you're out there and can hear, oh, there he is. So no golf today?
No, man, no golf today. Just gonna lay low.
Good for you, Boog. Man, it's awesome watching you on television, bro. Keep up the great work, and when you get to Baton Rouge, let's eat.
All right, appreciate it, Luke.
All right, man. There's Booger McFarland checking in this morning from the desk of ESPN and ABC, covering NFL and college football, and of course, going to be the headline speaker for the Coaches Clinic. Remember, we're brought to you by Katie's Restaurant down in New Orleans, located on Iberville Street. Town to get in and see them now. A little post-Mardi Gras hangover. If you want to get in there for some fresh seafood po' boys or some good St. Louis-style pizza or the coldest beer in town, stop in and check them out at Katie's in Mid-City over at katie'sinmidcity.com if you want to check out the menu before you get there. Their sister restaurant is Francesca's by Katie's, which is located over in Lakeview, that you can check out as well. But a great spot, a great place in the city, Katie's in Mid-City, katie'sinmidcity.com. Chris Blair on his way in here. We'll talk to him next or at some point when he pulls up over here at the Jordy Culotta Show. We'll be back. More Driven and Powered by Go Chevrolet.
Donaldsonville Glass and Body, the trusted name in frame, body, and automotive paint repair since 1977. They have served their customers for over 45 years. You can find them online at dgbauto.com or stop in and see them Railroad Avenue and Division Street out in Donaldsonville, Louisiana. Look, they can help you with your insurance claims. They can make the repair process as stress-free as possible. I'm speaking from experience here. I've got numerous windshields, body repair, all done by Kenny and the crew over at Donaldsonville Glass and Body. They are, without question, the most well-equipped shop in the area. Stop in and see them today. Shop them online, dgbauto.com, or stop in and see the crew over in Division Street in Donaldsonville, Louisiana. Donaldsonville Glass and Body. Hey fellas, it's Jordy Culotta for my friends over at Men's Total Health. Guys, do you suffer from fatigue, decreased libido, erectile dysfunction, weight gain or loss of muscle mass, signs of depression, anxiety, hair loss, mental fog, general loss of interest? Then you might be suffering from low testosterone. Go see my friend Mike Roach and his great team over at Men's Total Health over in Metairie at menstotalhealth.net online. And stop in and see how they can change your life today. A simple shot and some knowledge from Mike Roach can get you back up, moving with your energy, get your sex drive back, build your muscle mass, make you feel young again. All online, menstotalhealth.net. Red Stick Sports, a local staple in Baton Rouge to all sports fans, was founded back in 1981 and has remained a family business for over 40 years. Today, they still have the great selection on the floor, but they're also a leader in custom apparel for businesses, sports teams, and other groups. Take it from us, everybody over here at FM Digital Media. They help us out with all of our apparel. Let them help you out today. Go ask for Cody over at Red Stick Sports. Check him out online at redsticksports.biz.
We're all from different places and backgrounds. We've each experienced our own versions of life, but in the end, we're all on the same team. I'm part of that team, along with these players in purple and gold.
Kayshawn Buddha, Malik Neighbors, Miles Frazier,
Kyron Lacy,
Greg Brooks.
Whether on the field or in the courtroom, your team matters.
So join our team.
make a difference.
Bet. Let's get it done.
All right, welcome back here to the show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. Don't forget, our phone line is brought to you by our friends over at Metropolitan Health Group, Real Doctors, Real Solutions. Charlie Harvey and Jason Ramazan. Shout out to the crew over at Metropolitan Health Group. Thanks to Booger McFarland for stopping by, and really appreciate Mike Davis for stopping by at 7:30 this morning. He's the head coach of Detroit Mercy, and he takes on Youngstown State tonight. His son, Antoine Davis, is 26 points shy away from the scoring record, the NCAA scoring record that has stood since 1970. Pistol Pete Maravich. Last time he played a college basketball game was January 31st, 1970. I believe it was in Madison Square Garden. I believe it was in the NIT.
Yeah, I think it was. I think we looked at footage from that before.
Where he played his last college basketball game, and that was it. And that was 3,667 points in 3 years. I know a lot of you are debating on how it's being broken, but look, man, either way, it's always going to include Pistol Pete's name in it. Here to help us talk all about sports, traveling, as our guy has been on a hell of a traveling spree over the last couple of days. Back from Austin, and was on the call last night, and will be on the call this weekend with a 4-game set in baseball and 2 Gainesville on Saturday. So we'll talk some schedule with our guy, Chris Blair, who's back with us in his regular Thursday spot. Voice, good to see you. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, everybody. Doing well.
What a game you had a chance to, first off, see Tuesday night in Austin. And then, of course, it was a great call on Tuesday. But LSU goes into Texas and gets a really gritty win, I thought, for a number 1 overall team.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those early season games, and you see it on the schedule. You go to Round Rock, and I thought the guys did really good, and they bounced back after suffering their first loss on Saturday. But you see that game, Texas and LSU, and you're talking about 2 programs that have 6 national titles. So when you talk about blue bloods of college baseball, that's what you have, and you have it, on the last day of February. So you're excited, number one, because of the matchup. And, Texas obviously is going to join the SEC sometime here in the near future, so it's a chance to kind of go over there and get a sense of what it's going to be like when you travel there for the other sports. And it lived up to the hype. It was a great game, great atmosphere. I was talking to some people before going into the ballpark. They said, going to the secondary market that afternoon on Tuesday, tickets were like $40 or $50. Wow. Where they said, come here next week to the midweek, you can get them for $1. So that tells you that the Texas fans, and there were a number of LSU fans who you could hear and you could see if you were there. So there were a lot that went to Round Rock, and apparently were able to maybe take 6-7 days off because the team was gone for a week basically.
Yeah.
But it was a great game, and 3-0. I really thought, and hearing the coaches after the game as we got on the bus, even though you didn't have a lot of offense, and LeBaron Johnson, I thought, pitched a gem of a game. He had the split finger that really nobody could put a bat on. But LSU won that game early offensively because they got to the bullpen. I mean, he was at above 80 pitches going into the 5th inning.
Yeah.
There was a lot of full counts. His credit, he was able to win most of those battles, but they knew they needed to get to the bullpen. And Coach Pierce, every time he brought somebody in new, it seemed like the level kind of dropped off, and you were just waiting for the one mistake pitch. And they happened to give it to Dugas, I believe. Dugas. And he slapped it right out of there. And you could, it's one of those games where it's kind of like a heavyweight fight. Each team gets some body blows. Each team had some really good defensive plays. And Nate Ackenhausen, I think, countered what Johnson did as a starter. I thought Nate did out of the bullpen. He was spectacular. And then it's that one punch that lands. And once that punch hits, it's over with. And that's what Gavin Dugas did in the top of the 9th. People were packing up and walking out the doors with 1 out in the top of the 9th inning because they just felt like it was over.
Well, Christian Little will make you feel like that.
Yeah, well, he will too.
I mean, that
big
cat,
dude.
That is
throwing gas.
Starting defensive end.
Yes.
I mean, that is an intimidating figure on the mound to close you out, man. Take me back to Dugas. You've seen this from him the last couple of years, the moment, and really kind of the start to the season he's having. I mean, we've talked about everybody, it feels like, but him in the lead up to the year.
No question about it. I mean, we and for good reason, obviously. I mean, the roster is super loaded, and you added some pieces, obviously, with Tommy White, who hit 27 home runs last year. So, I mean, that's going to get some headlines. But Dugas is just one of those hard-nosed guys. I mean, he's tough as can be. I have seen him hit walls, going for fly balls and go slamming into the side rail. pop up and be ready to go. And then, the great story of the offseason where the coaching staff and Jay Johnson felt like there was something not quite right. They send Gavin to an eye doctor, and they find out, I don't know exactly what it was, but they have a procedure. He has an eye patch for several weeks during fall ball.
Yeah.
And as I joke with Bill Frank, whatever they did worked, because now it seems like that the baseball looks like a beach ball to him.
Yeah.
Because as you said,
Right.
he's on a tear to start the season.
Mm-hmm.
And to think that maybe he wasn't going to be in the starting lineup and wasn't the opening game, and it's what I've said all along. If everybody stays healthy, which knock on wood, the challenge is going to be managing this roster.
Yeah.
Because who are you going to sit? And nobody wants to see an injury, but with Tommy White, going down with the dislocated shoulder, now he's back, able to hit, not quite ready to get in the field. You got a guy like Ben Napolt, who I think is quietly helping this LSU team play so much better
Solid.
defensively
Yeah.
at both second and now at third. You don't want to take Jones out of the lineup. I saw him take 2 off the scoreboard on Tuesday in BP. I mean, towering shots.
Right.
And then Gavin Dugas, and then you want to have Tommy White. So, I mean, it's. I think I've heard it 1,000 times in the last 2 weeks. Abundance of riches for Jay Johnson.
Doug was here yesterday. Doug Thompson, your broadcast partner, was here yesterday, and he was talking about, look, I played for Skip Burtman. You got your best 9 in the lineup. It didn't matter what you were kind of saying. What are they doing with Morgan? Or how do you like how they're using Trey Morgan to kind of make sure he stays in there, and he's playing some positions that he's never played in his life, right?
Yeah, and I think, there were a lot of talk, and people probably remember this, that, translating to the next level.
Yeah.
Because he's so good with the bat. He's so smart that, maybe the outfield's where he'll be. He's a sensational first baseman. I mean, he makes plays that are, Sports Center top 10 type plays. But again, it goes back to you want to have Gavin out there. He's red hot. You want to have Jared Jones in there. He's incredible. Tommy White now can swing. How do you manipulate that 9? How do you put the lineup together? Well, you got Trey Morgan, who's all team. He's big team, little me. Got to go in left field. I'll do it. So, I mean, I think it's smart because I think Doug's right. Jay's like, hey, we got to put the best guys out there because he looks at this game's not important. I mean, his big philosophy is a 56-game playoff. And losing last Saturday ate him alive. Most people, you hear the phrase, well, that's baseball. You play 56 games. You can't win them all. You'd love to. Jay wants to win them all. So he's going to put the best guys on the field. And, he knows when a guy's hot that you don't want to take him out. And he's not going to be locked into, well, this is our 9, this is our lineup. That's not the way he works.
Yeah.
And if things change over the next couple of weeks, it wouldn't shock me to see guys in different spots again.
A little unconventional weekend with a 4-gamer that starts on Friday, goes through Monday night. You're in Gainesville Saturday to close out men's basketball season. How does the schedule work for you this week?
Doug and Buzzy, the former champs, will handle things.
Stand-up comedians. Huh?
Yeah, they'll handle things on Friday and Saturday, and then we'll be back late Saturday night, so I'll be at the ballpark Sunday. Buzzy and I will actually work that. I think
Nice.
Coach Duder has some coaching responsibilities.
I'd imagine.
And then I've got the Matt McMahon show on Monday, so that series falls into Monday with Butler and Central Connecticut. So Doug and Buzzy will be back on the call Monday. So I'll get one baseball game this weekend and one men's basketball game to close it out.
Nice. Jason Gibson, hashtag Chris Blair. I really enjoyed meeting you last year in Nashville, or here in Nashville at the Vandy game. He's from Nashville. As you were heading to the stadium, I appreciate you stopping and telling me and my son hello. Hunter Hall has a question for you. Chris, what's the most upset you've ever been on air? He's assuming it was regarding an official's call.
Yeah, gosh, I'm sure it was around a bad call
I've
at
heard
some
you on
point.
some football calls where you, what? Say what?
Well,
He said what?
There was one last night. It wasn't the maddest, but the traveling call on KJ Williams was missed. He didn't have possession and really didn't even walk, come to think of it. It just looked like he did because he was kind of fumbling around. That's probably it. I don't know that I could single out. I mean, there's been games where you go somewhere. I tell you, the 18 game at Florida in football was miserable just simply because you're in Gainesville.
Absolutely.
That starts it all right there. You're at the Swamp. And, it really felt like, as it would turn out, that end of the 18 season was the springboard for the magical 19 year. But it was frustrating that day because our inability to really get anything consistent. Then Joe throws the interception at the end.
Right?
You got to hear Florida fans. And it just was really felt like there was a chance, because there's been times we've gone since I've been at LSU and well before that where you won in Gainesville and didn't deserve to. I mean,
Sure.
just weren't the better team,
Yeah.
but you played that day.
Yeah.
That one was a miserable day because it stands out. And most trips to Florida I don't remember, but that one I do.
I've only made one, and it was with you with the basketball team a few years ago. And does Gainesville have anything like for Tom Petty? Is there anything like I can go learn about Tom? Isn't his original home in place? You're a music guy.
Yeah.
And I'm not a Gainesville guy like you. I think it's probably the worst trip in the league.
Yeah.
But they do have Tom Petty. Is there anything celebrating him there?
You know, if they do, it's recent
Yeah.
because it all started immediately following his death, untimely death, by the way, and suddenly it became a Florida tradition. Now, I say that, and that sounds a little tongue-in-cheek and a little bit like a smart-ass, but, you know, good on them because I love Tom Petty, so at least they recognize his accomplishments coming from, you know, nothing in
Sure.
Gainesville and becoming one of the biggest stars in the world.
Right, a swamp, literally.
Whether or not they have a childhood home or maybe
Yeah.
they have a plaque somewhere, I'm sure they do. And it's, again, I would guess it's all happened in the last couple of years. If they haven't, a matter of fact, when I get there on Friday, I'm going to ask. And if
Okay.
they don't, then I'm going to
Yeah.
hammer them on Saturday.
Please do. George the Greek asks, #Ask Chris, at what point did you lose the fandom and become like, this is a job? Like, do you, ever lose that?
Yeah, well, here's the thing. I mean, sports has changed so much in the last really 3 years.
Yeah.
And it's a business, and really, you know, having worked in college athletics for over 20 years, you know, it's always been a business. You know, and I think now it's more people are kind of. It is a business. We're all acknowledging
Let's embrace
it is.
this now.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. They're making money too.
Yes. But, you know, you become a fan, and it becomes, and you've heard me say this before, Jordy, it's because, you know, you go to Oxford, let's say for last week, you come off the win over Vanderbilt, a team that was red hot, that you really, on paper, didn't feel like you could win. Nobody thought you could win.
Yeah.
You get that win, you got some momentum. It was a fun trip going to Oxford, quick flight, guys were loose. And then you come away from that game and just didn't play your best, and Ole Miss, you know, playing like their hair was on fire. And then you travel back with them, and it's a very somber plane flight, and then you try to build up that momentum. I say all that to say, coming back with the baseball team flying on the charter after the game Tuesday was, you know, guys are having fun, they're high-fiving.
This is why I do it.
They're giving each other hell.
Yeah,
And so when you're in that setting, you can't not be a fan. You know, as much as you try to say, hey, this is a business and I got to do X many games and all I got to do is call the action and then forget it as soon as I walk out the door. You can try to tell yourself that, but when you're around these people and you're around these coaches, you see their highs and you see their lows. You're a fan. You can't help but be a fan. And if you were listening, you know, again, Tuesday night, I don't think I hid the fact that I was an LSU fan.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's not put on. That's not fake. That's just in the moment when something happens good for the Tigers. I get fired up about it like everybody else does.
James Fortenberry says Blair lost it last year in the Bama game when they took the fumble away from LSU when he was listening.
Yeah, he's
big
right.
food and music guy, Chris is. So we got some food questions coming in, and obviously they're about restaurants in the SEC. Is there a town and a restaurant that when you land you have to go eat somewhere?
No, and the reason is because I hate to bring it up again, but we talked last time about John Brady. And John has, I mean, again, you talk about a guy that's been in every town for a number of years.
30 years now.
And he's got 3, 4, 5 spots. And sometimes he's adventurous. You know, last year for the SEC tournament, which, by the way, I really enjoyed in Tampa. I know Nashville does a great job, and Nashville's a great city. But, man, Tampa on the water and on the river area there. And there was a new restaurant that John had heard about, I think, through a mutual friend, and Mike Hollingsworth here. They all know this guy, and he opens this restaurant. And apparently, it hadn't been open very long. And John's like, "Hey, we got to go check it out." And it was phenomenal. I mean, it was great. The atmosphere was great. And of course, we get there, and there's a line, as I told you, backed up. John walks in.
You two with us.
Here's a table.
Right, that's right.
But no, there's really no like go to because I think John's pretty adventurous that way. And when we go on the road, he. You know, if there's a new spot, he doesn't like to go to the same. Now, he's got his favorites, don't get me wrong. one happens to be right here in Baton Rouge that I think he would put up against any place in the country.
You can catch him there after every game.
Yes, except the 8 o'clock starts. But no, not in particular. There are certain towns that are a lot more fun to go to, and that's Lexington, Kingsport, obviously Nashville.
Lexington would be a sleeper, I guess, for people, right?
I guess so, man. But there's so much to do there with the horses and the bourbon tours, and downtown Lexington is electric. They got some great places to stop by.
You know what town surprises people a lot is Fayetteville.
Yeah, Fayetteville's another one.
You high on?
Yeah, it's all right.
Okay.
It's not my. I mean, it's obviously not the worst Ville in the SEC.
Right.
But no, Fayetteville. I mean, the downtown area there is cool. Another sleeper, obviously, if you haven't been, Columbia, Missouri. The downtown in Columbia is pretty hopping too, and we don't get to go there a lot, but when we do, it's a fun place, and they got some great eateries.
All right, real quick before I get you out of here, you do any prep work, spring football? Do you kind of pop?
I go to
in
practice.
There? Okay, so
yeah,
watch,
I just go to practice, get
watch.
a feel for it. And it's interesting because so many people. There's two things that fans really pay close attention to, and they should. That is recruiting on a day by day, year to year basis, and spring football. And for me, it's not. At the end of the day, what I see in the spring. Big picture is all I need to know for the fall because it doesn't really translate for what I do. But I do go to practice because I like to see who's getting reps and who maybe has made some strides, and obviously the new players, whether they're early enrollees or transfers nowadays. You get an idea, get a face with a number, and kind of see what they can do. But spring football to me, I think, is very important to the team, very important to the coaching staff. But for my job. For me to come out of spring football and go, guys, listen, we're not going to be any good, or we're going to win them all. Right. It would be me completely making things up.
I saw them on March 10th. They're screwed.
Here's a great example, Jordy. In 19, spring football, went to practices. Hey, we look good. The guys who made plays last year are really, doing a good job this year. We ought to be okay. Fall camp. The 4 weeks leading up to the first game, I'll never forget, our radio crew took in one of the scrimmages, and we all came out of there like, this is not your daddy's LSU. This isn't your granddaddy's LSU. They don't miss catches, and this guy can fire it wherever you need it to go. And so I didn't know that it was going to be quite what it was, but I knew it was good. So fall camp to me, for my job, is probably more beneficial than spring football.
Chris Blair, LSU Sports Radio Network. Remember, this weekend, a baseball game on Friday night. That'll be Buzz and Duggar Friday and Saturday. Chris will be in Gainesville with the basketball team on Saturday. Back home with baseball on Sunday. So a busy weekend for the Voice. And every Thursday, you can catch him here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Then on Monday night, the Matt McMahon Show. So a lot of programming coming up for you from the network. So Chris, good to see you. Have a great weekend.
Real quick, you got a second?
Yeah.
I saw the show yesterday. Bill Franquez knows how to pronounce everybody's name.
Chris, thank you.
And
thank you.
Nobody from a network that shall not be named asked Bill on Tuesday about anybody's name. And if you wanted to know how that happened, that's how that happened. And the radio crew, Craig Way, who's longtime voice of Texas, walked over, said hello, talked to Bill. Any names I need to be aware of, he gave him a rundown. The PA announcer at the stadium came over, talked to Bill. They went over the pronunciations, and those were the only two people. So
it was very.
The rest speaks for itself.
Take me through that preparation. You've been doing this for decades.
You got to. You get somewhere. I mean, a lot of times the guys who have Bill's job. I mean, Bill and Kent Lowe. I'm blessed because I get to work with those, and Michael Bonnet. Those are the three I work for in the three sports. But most other SIDs that we know in the league, they always come over and they always say, "Hey, the guide's here on page 3." But got any questions? And then I'll ask, and they get it, and I'll write it out phonetically.
Absolutely.
If it's difficult, if it's 9 consonants in a row, I go ahead.
Duga.
You got to put the S on the end. Dugas.
Yes.
Because I did have that early. There are 2 different types here in Louisiana.
Yeah,
Some are
We were talking about
Dugas
that yesterday.
and Dugas, and we have asked Gavin numerous times, and whether he's playing a joke on us, I don't know. The rest of his family thinks we're morons, but Gavin says Dugas. And in the same way that when I got here, Bill Franquez is the gentleman who said, hey, by the way, the family says Alec Box Stadium. So I get a lot of tweets from time to time where people go, hey, it's Alex. Why do you keep saying Alec?
Because his mom told
Not
me to.
because I decided.
Right.
Somebody's mom told Bill Franquez, and Bill Franquez told me. And
think
so
that's a Southern
if you
thing,
go to a
right?
game at the box and you hear Bill on the PA, which he does a masterful job of, he says, "Welcome to Alec Box Stadium." So when Bill changes, I'll change.
And that is a great example of why, because
Yeah.
the family is asking and telling that's the pronunciation. How disrespectful is it from your position when you do mispronounce it? Isn't it? I remember an aunt telling me it's blank, not blank, and I remember my face, like the blood rushing out of my face, being so embarrassed of how disrespectful that is, of just getting on the air and not asking, is this the right way to say your name?
My mom was an elementary school teacher, and she said, make sure you use proper English. If you're going to do this job for a living, we grew up in Eastern Kentucky, but you know better. It ain't, don't ain't,
right.
And don't let me tell you, don't do that.
Axe.
Enunciate, pronounce words. My father was the one who said, make sure you get the names right. And I learned that when I was doing high school games when I was in college.
High school's where you learn it.
He said, mama, grandma, aunt, somebody's going to call you. And you're right. It's embarrassing when you don't get it right.
Oh,
so whenever we get a new batch of players for the sports I cover, I immediately go through the roster, and the first person I find is either Kent Lowe, Bill Franquez, or Michael Bonnet. And then if there's any kind of question about it, then both of us, either together or individually, go to the player and say, how does mom say your name?
100%.
Because a lot of times, and I love the guys, because they'll be like, the first time we asked Gavin, it was like, is it Dugas or Dugas? Oh, either way. Like, no. I know
Maybe for your boys, not for me.
I know you're cool with it, but mom's not going to be. So I need to know what she says.
That's right.
So that's
She
how you
says
do
Dugas.
it. But yeah, if you're doing this
Mama
for a
calls
living,
him Dugas, I'm a
Yeah.
it just takes a little extra homework, and believe me, you need to go ask the people who know. Otherwise, you're gonna have egg on your face.
When the number one baseball team in the country's in town, there's no excuse.
I know, there's really not. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
I mean, great to see you, buddy.
All right, guys.
Have a great
Have a
weekend.
good rest
Chris
of the
Blair
week.
will wrap it up next here. Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet.
So there is a little.
Hey Baton Rouge, when traveling through Natchez, Mississippi, whether you need to fill up your vehicle or your belly, stop by Go-Mart and On The Go Deli. Go-Mart has clean restrooms, community coffee, an awesome beer cave, and a great selection of anything you might need on your trip. So stop by Go-Mart at 4 Sergeant Prentice Drive as you're entering Natchez on the left, and visit Tom and Wright Granning and their awesome team at Go-Mart.
In a wreck, Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys is ready to go to work for you. Come meet your team.
I'm your intake specialist. I coordinate your case and connect you with your attorney and paralegal.
That's us, your legal team.
Thanks.
And we'll fight to get you every dollar you deserve.
I'm your settlements and disbursement manager, and I'm here to get you paid on time.
I'm attorney Gordon McKernan. Put our team to work today. Just call us. Get it done.
Are you looking for sound financial advice? Then get in touch with Daniel Newman of Edward Jones. You can call him today at 225-261-8262 or email him daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. If you're planning for retirement, saving for college for children or grandchildren, or just looking for sound investment opportunities, get in touch with Daniel today, 225-261-8262, located on Magnolia Square Drive in Central. Daniel Newman of Edward Jones.
Don't let the name fool you. Men's Total Health has offerings for the ladies, too. Guys, is your wife or partner suffering from urinary incontinence, low sexual desire, or pain during sex? Then the O shot might be for her. Don't let it scare you. It's totally natural. It's PRP. And Mike Roach and the crew at Men's Total Health will make you as comfortable as you can be. Contact me for more information, Katie at jordyculotta.com, and I'm happy to tell you everything that Men's Total Health has to offer for the ladies.
48 Insurance Agency, established in 1946, locally can help you with any of your home, auto, commercial, contractors, life and health insurance today. Give them a call, 225-383-0682, or log online to 48agency.com. All right, welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet, as we are daily brought to you by our friends over at Go. Get the trucks. They're online. You can search them there. They've got great selection of trucks. Yeah, that's right.
Get the trucks.
Get your trucks from Go Chevrolet.
Countryest tagline ever.
Get your trucks over there in LaPlace.
We're just talking about pronunciation and proper English with Chris Blair.
I'd love to like just sit somebody who wasn't from Louisiana and just make them go through all the little towns.
Oh, it's wild.
They would butcher like Natchitoches. Oh my god. That's the one that gets people.
That was me when I moved here. I mean, and I still say emit, and people get so mad at me, but I will never not say emit.
It's Amite.
It's emit in Mississippi. It's a county, it's a river, it's a street, it's emit.
Well, it's a town in Louisiana, and they call it Amite.
I get you beat up in Louisiana.
Yeah.
I get it, but
you go over to Amite and say that?
Well, I don't really get over to Amite too often.
I know.
When I was there for dinner the other night.
I'm not accusing you as being a small town traveler. I'm just saying if you take
a
wrong turn one day.
I know that. I worked with a woman from there, and I mean, she understood where I was coming from. I was like, I'm sorry, but we're so close, and we have Emit River, Emit County, Emit Street
it just
in our
sounds
capital city.
It doesn't roll off the tongue as well as Amite.
Amite. I just feel like people pronounce it. Never mind. I don't even know why I'm getting into this here. I'm not going to win this.
Trying to put it in there.
I'm not going to win this. Never mind.
You might win.
Amite.
That's a good competitor. Know when you can't lose. Mm-hmm. Know when you can't win.
Yeah. I'm not going to win, but names are different. I mean, it's Hebert.
Oof.
Oh my goodness.
In Mississippi is all I mean.
Like Bear is Hebert?
Yeah.
Oh no, it's Bear.
I get that here. It's just weird how you cross the state line and things really change,
It's almost like it's spelled with an A, but it's an H.
It is weird.
It is really weird, right?
How you can just travel, like 30
be so
minutes.
close. When I moved here, I remember I told my husband at the time, I was like, we're not in the South. This isn't the South. And he was like, no one said it was. This is
Kansas
not
anymore.
like Mississippi South. And I was like, it's just kind of like a different country here sometimes.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I love it.
We appreciate it.
But it's just not, I didn't know.
I would specifically say South Louisiana.
Yeah.
There are parts of
Louisiana
North
is
Louisiana
Mississippi.
that still feels like the 1940s.
It's Mississippi.
You know what
Shreveport
I mean?
is Mississippi.
It is like still small. Hey, how y'all doing
How
today?
you doing today?
Yeah.
Had a good day today?
It's so different. Right. And then Lafayette is so different.
We was going to horse ride up there to the county store.
The county store.
Well, you said Lafayette's different.
It's very different too, right? Like no one really has accents. There's not really.
There's a Lafayette accent,
but there's not like
There's
it's not a Southern
Lafayette accent.
It's not like a Bayou accent. Like it's
more
just,
like a French type.
Yeah.
The Southwest
twang.
Louisiana has that type of French.
Yeah.
Kind of like Kunas.
Yeah. There are just so many cultures down here. It's amazing, really. It's a lot.
I love
packed
South
into the.
Yeah,
I do too.
For all of our failures, and we suck at a lot of stuff.
I mean, we're last.
Education, traffic, crime. Some of the stuff that really matters. But I mean,
but the things that really matter.
But like the stuff that gets in your soul, like the food, the music, and the people.
I know.
I mean, it's
where we went at.
I hate
hard to beat
I hate
the
to
food.
sound like such a like such an imbecile, but I would trade those 3 for the other 3 all
Yeah,
day. I mean,
know.
like
The vibes are immaculate.
I don't
here.
want to live in Alpharetta, Georgia, man. I
No.
mean, it's too clean here. Y'all have y'all's taxes and stuff figured out too much.
Y'all's roads are
Y'all don't
good.
have politicians skimming off the top over here for
Right.
real?
You sure?
Like, I mean, like, are you sure that there is that everything's above board? They're like, yeah. I mean, we're teaching our kids. We don't have traffic. The
Y'all are in
crime's
public schools.
minimal, but I mean, you know, everything's just chain food. I
Wait,
mean,
you mean to
know,
tell me
Yeah.
you send
did
your
you go to
kids to public
Chili's?
school?
Mm-hmm.
Did you make it over to TGI Fridays? Like, no. I mean, there's no local kitchen here. Like, no, there's no local flavor here.
You could go to Zaxby's.
Created our own dream world over here, right?
I'm never impressed with food in other places.
Oh,
Ever.
never.
It's so hard. And
Ever.
people
Ever.
tell me when we were in Nashville,
I mean,
people
when
were
I
like,
was
"You
in
got to go
Chicago,
here."
People were telling the food's fantastic. I'm like, where?
I know.
Where is the food? Well, they got a great steak. A steak. I mean, if you're pumping your steak to me,
People did that to us in Nashville, and we
Yeah.
went
that's
to
like
the steak
that's what they're
restaurant.
like. We got a great steak. Like, I
Yes.
mean, you better have a great steak if you
mean-
have a chef. You know what I mean? Like, what chef doesn't know how to cook a steak?
Right.
You know what I mean? Cook me up
You'd
some
be
etouffee.
surprised.
I was about to
cuz.
say, give me some crawfish
You know what I mean?
etouffee.
Like,
Yeah.
Give me some
You
red
want to
beans.
you
Give
want
me
to
some-
wow me? Give me some seafood gumbo, man.
You'd be surprised though.
No, I
Everybody
wouldn't.
can't
No, I
cook a great
wouldn't.
steak.
I would. Even if you go down to New Orleans, there's still posers down there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, in a world that's filled with food icons and superstars, you can shade off and get a bad burger.
Yeah, you can.
You know, I mean,
You can.
it's still people down there messing up elementary style cooking.
Yeah.
But
But
when
they're
you
messing
travel
up
outside and go to
everywhere
these cities like Austin, Nashville, Chicago, where they're telling you, try the food. Like, okay, I did, but I mean, I'm going home.
I wasn't impressed with anything, and I tried places that people were like, "You've got to go here. It's the best meal I've ever had in
Oh,
Nashville."
jeez.
And I was just like,
Yeah.
It was okay.
More times than not, it's the atmosphere's good.
Yeah, that's what people
You know
are
what I
after.
mean?
Yeah,
Like, it's open seating.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, there's inside, outside, patio. Like,
Right.
sweet.
Cool.
How's the food?
Yeah.
You know, I
We're
mean,
just spoiled here. Everything is so good,
Yeah.
food wise.
And they
I will
season-
tell you that I did eat at one spot, but I found out that it was a chain
In
in
Nashville?
Austin.
Oh, in Austin.
And it was a sushi joint called Uchi.
Ooh, yeah. There's one in Houston, and it is
Cuz.
freaking fabulous.
Like,
Not a big
I think
sushi
there's
guy.
one in
and it's
Nashville
and not
too.
necessarily just sushi.
Get the
It's
little-
it's a. You might want to look it up. It was
It's good.
It was
Did
fire.
you cook the little steak on the
Yes,
rock?
on the
oh
rock.
man!
Oh, hold up, hold
It's
up.
like mouth watering. I know.
I can't get it out of. I can't forget.
Same. It's one of the best Asian meals I've
I
ever
had no
had.
idea.
Yeah.
Like I cannot believe how good that.
Yeah.
Specifically, that part of the meal was.
Yeah. And it's a chain.
I mean, if we talking about cooking a steak,
eating the
on
meat off the
on a
rock.
Eating the meat
Oh.
off the rock is so
Yeah.
good. I mean,
you know,
absolutely.
I'd love
perfect.
to get my meat out off a rock.
Stewie, Uchi, check
you
it
gotta
out.
do it. You're in Houston all the time. Get over
For
there.
a simple $69.99, you can have your meat eaten off of a rock today.
Man.
Oh.
Yeah, it's not cheap.
It's not cheap.
Sophie and I went when we
yeah.
went to Houston for a little trip, and we had the chefs. We were like, let's do the chef's tasting. Just bring, because she'll eat anything. She loves sushi. Like, yeah, we got the bill, and I was like, okay,
You just bought
here's
interest
how we're
into the
gonna play
company.
this. Here's
Yeah,
what we
right.
tell David.
Just bought a little steak.
Congratulations, you're an owner of
gotta
1%
yeah.
steak of Uchi.
I was like, I hope you really enjoyed that. Like, I need you to cry and talk about how this was the best meal of your life type thing. Like, we got to talk about this overnight and get home and like really have a plan here, because he's gonna see the American Express meal and be like, what did y'all do? Did you like buy the whole restaurant
Any
around?
kitchen shifts available that we could scrub? We're long. She's tall. She can reach those high spots if you need.
I'll wash the dishes.
That's what it was
right.
like.
We can pull
like,
that
what
8
did
to
we
10.
do?
That 8 to 10 shift. Huh? Can we knock maybe a couple thousand off this bottom line? I mean, it's a 3-course meal.
It was so good though.
It is good.
It was so
So it's
good.
worth
It
the
is
price
good.
of admission.
Yes.
Yeah. It was worth it.
I don't
we
know
got
if the
past
chef's
it.
taste was.
I mean, it was some good.
I mean, that's a
it
different
was
tax
some
bracket for
really
us down here.
good.
You know what I
You know,
mean?
hey,
Like-
look, I'm out. I'm not a big sushi
Yeah,
guy.
I'm with
anyway.
them.
Yeah. With her.
Right.
The lady with the American
Yeah,
Express
right.
card. I'm with her.
And Sophie was like 10 at the time, so it was really tough to
Oh,
justify
wow.
it.
What
Like,
a life
whoa.
for Soph.
Yeah, I know, right?
Everywhere
Yeah.
she's goes, she's been ordering the chef's
Ah,
taste
I know.
since.
I've set her up for some
Yeah,
failure,
no doubt about it.
probably.
I've done the same.
Yeah.
I've done the same.
When she went on the college tour trip through South Carolina, and she was like, we were looking at where she was staying, and she was like, Hampton Inn. I've never stayed at one of those. What is that? David's like, oh, God, this is going to be great. You're going to make your own breakfast.
Like a true knight. Get on in here, you Episcopal grad.
Your own pancakes exactly how you want to in the morning.
What do you want me to do with a Hampton Inn?
He looked at me and he was like, what the hell?
How do you say that? Is that
like
Hampton? Is that... Is that just, I mean, all my friends just threw hotel parties there. We would just rent the top floor.
He was like, what have you done?
Yeah, I mean,
what have you done?
I mean, dude, that sounds like high school, bro, for us.
Totally.
Yeah, I mean, you roll with the Episcopal kids, you're like, Mom, I mean, we're in.
Bro,
we got the whole floor rented out. We got the whole restaurant rented out, Ma. You want me to grab you a to-go plate?
That's all it was for us. Like, when we get around, like, STM kids,
yeah.
you're like, oh, my God, these kids are living way different from us down in Little Franklin. Like, they ain't seeing tractors every day.
Yeah, right, no doubt. All right, have a great Thursday. Hit that like button, share button, comment button if you don't mind for us.
I'm hungry now.
Me too. I just moved the meeting to Zeeland.
Oh my God, I bet you did. I was just thinking about that. The best BLT in Baton Rouge is up at Zeeland.
No doubt about it. Go tell Steph in the game that you heard it right here on the
yeah.
Jordy Culotta Show. Also, shout out to our CPA, Dawn, and Premier. It's tax season.
Redemption,
if you need some help,
tax, and processing.
let me tell you, bro, she took the world off of my shoulders yesterday.
She does. Every day
I
for
mean,
me.
like, it was, it was as if I was driving to the principal's office.
Yeah.
I was so scared to go to this meeting yesterday.
Yeah.
I was thinking of excuses to get out of it. I was trying to come up with excuses of, like, trying to find other meetings to put on the books.
Typical Jordy.
I mean, like, as I'm exiting the interstate, I'm still trying to find something to get out of this meeting. I mean, finally, I've come to the realization I've got to drive down this road and go to her office to find out what the federal government is going to do to me.
Because they're not going to tell you.
No, they're not. They're just going to show up and knock,
game.
right?
Yeah.
And they're going to say, we love this business that you built. We're going to take it from you today.
Yeah.
But that's not happening. It's all good. It's all good. It's that trip to the principal's office where you're like, I mean, like, I came with all of my notes prepared. I gave her and kind of slid across the desk. This was things I'm not proud of, Dawn. Just help me get out of here as fast as possible. I had the same talk with my guidance counselor in college when she said, I don't know what you're trying to graduate in. You've got a ton of credits that we could go a lot of different ways here.
You can do whatever you want.
But, I mean, if you're just trying to get out of the woods as fast as possible, I can get you a general studies degree by next spring. I'm like, I'm in. General studies. Let's do it.
Put me in.
You know what I mean?
What do I sign?
When she opened it up and she was like, oh, no, this isn't. I mean, I literally got up, walked around the desk, and, like, embraced her.
I wondered why you were in such a bad mood. I mean, a good mood. You
Thank
called
you,
me
Katie.
after that meeting, and I was like, man, he's
I actually
giddy.
took your call in the middle of that
I know
meeting.
you did. You're like, I'm here with Dawn right now.
Dawn, I got to take this.
But isn't this great? I'm like, okay, bye. Just call me after.
Katie, what's up?
Not taking the business.
You were panicked.
It was. I panicked, bro.
Anything to
I've been
deflect.
panicked for 4 months.
They're great. It's redemption process development. I mean,
She's
this,
the best.
This isn't an ad. They really are great. But you can
I
go to
know, it's
Redemption
not.
LLC.
Feels like an ad.
Well, it does feel like that, but
not.
RedemptionLLC.org. I talk to Dawn literally every day, all day. She does everything. Our bookkeeping. She helps with everything. They're amazing.
They're best. They're the best. Go. I'm telling you, call Premier. It's also deceivingly like one of those spots that the office looks as if it's built for 1 or 2 people, and you open it up, and I mean, it is like 12 people in a beehive, like all buzzing around working. I'm like, look at this place, man. Where's everybody's cars at? Where does everybody park?
Tax season, Coach. Lock in.
Coach, don't I know it? I feel great about it. I've been trying to hide from tax season.
Yeah, you've been scared for like
Have
a
I been
solid
scared,
year
Katie?
about it.
Have I been scared? I mean,
Yeah.
like, since I've got out of the that was one thing of the corporate wing that I did miss. That was one thing about corporate America that made it a very easy process. And that's one of the things that they negotiate with you. Like, you're going to have to start doing your taxes out there by yourself. Like, yeah, I know, man.
I got this.
You brat. All right. Have a great day. Hit the like button, share button, comment button. We're heading over to Zeeland for our first meeting of the day. Enjoy it. We will we'll be back tomorrow morning. What's today? Thursday. Nick at 3.
Today's Thursday.
Close it out at 3 o'clock this afternoon. And make sure you're following everybody. Like, share, comment. Go Chevrolet driving us. Have a good day.
Go and get my dick ate off of. I mean, not the. Go and get my meat ate off of. Rock.